There are two finalists in the very hard-fought category of Entrepreneur, which is sponsored by Lancashire Life magazine. Georgia Kirk is unable to be here this afternoon, so I'm going to read a little bit about her. But can I welcome to the stage Pamela Evans, aka the Digger Lady. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Georgia first. Did you know that 83% of adults say they want to write a book, yet fewer than 1% ever do? In 2016, Georgia Kirk left full-time employment and took a leap of faith. From her kitchen table, she founded Right Business Results to help entrepreneurs and business leaders turn their ideas and experiences into books. And not just any books, but best-selling, business-building, legacy-defining books that empower voices through publishing. Despite a life-changing injury in a global pandemic, Georgia grew WBR and inspired more than 40 clients to share their stories. Last year, she expanded her vision with ClioBooks.ai, an AI-empowered platform helping non-fiction writers through guided voice or text. Georgia Kirk is redefining what's possible for modern authors and female tech founders alike. She's an industry disruptor whose rise in the traditionally male-dominated tech space is as inspiring as it is trailblazing. And I was actually going to ask Georgia how all you women in the room, especially those of you in business who have knowledge to share, could get your books published. So you need to go on her website and ask her that question. And now to the Digger Lady. So, can you imagine the scene when schoolgirl Pamela was told by her teachers that having a passion for all things digger and excavator wasn't going to make the earth move when she moved on to looking for a career? But that turned out to be the least of her challenges, because despite becoming the first female and youngest person to obtain, and I want one of these, a 360-degree tracked excavator license, Pamela faced serious personal challenges, including postnatal depression, debt, and supporting her husband through numerous surgeries to save his sight. She's told us, "We were reliant on food bank vouchers and benefits. The only time I felt good about myself was when I was digging with my dad at weekends." So, Pamela, what was it about diggers that fascinated you as a child and then helped you through the bad times?
So my dad was a digger driver, and from the age of 6, he would take me to work with him, and I'd sit on his knee. And by the time I was 12, I could fully operate a digger. And I think it was the being outside, being able to be creative, doing something physical. I didn't really flourish in school. I struggled with the reading and writing and concentration. So it was just something that I really flourished in. Being able to do something with my hands.
So Dad's fault?
Yeah, Dad's fault, yeah.
How did the Digger Lady business come about then? Because this is a really male-dominated industry. So how have you managed to succeed? And what kind of jokes have you had over the years?
So I got my licence when I was 21 and started working for big contractors all over the northwest, working on machines from 1 tonne to 60 tonne. It was very varied. But yeah, there has been lots of different opinions, shall we say, to women being in that role. One of my favourites was walking into the canteen one day, going to the microwave where I'd cook my lunch, and open it, and the lads had exploded a seagull in it. So yeah, there was quite a few things where they'd let me know that I wasn't particularly wanted or respected at work. But to be honest, that is what filled me with more determination to build my confidence and build my skill, to where it got to the point where people would actually requesting me to come and work on their site or drive their diggers. And then and I got to work all over the Northwest, all over England, even did a year in Australia, which was amazing. And then for me, I became a mum in 2012, but at the same time, my husband started to lose a lot of his eyesight, and he had to stop work, so I'd come off the diggers as well. So we'd found ourselves new parents having to rely on food bank vouchers and benefits, and I fell into a deep, deep hole of postnatal depression and lost all confidence in myself as a mum. Completely no self-esteem at all. And you know when you're just fed up with being fed up, it was that point where I just kind of thought, do I want to raise my little girl feeling like this? Do I not want to show her what a strong female role model is? So what is it? I don't feel confident as a mum, but what I do feel confident is at digging holes, strangely enough. So what I decided to do was I saved up £150, which I knew could hire a mini digger for a week, and I borrowed a can of fuel off a local farmer, and I managed to get some work on a golf course and started a business, the Digger Lady. That's how I started the business, and it just grew from there. Word of mouth, getting a reputation for digging with female finesse. That's my tagline. Thank you. So now, I'm 8 years on now in business, and my passion and next vision for the business is to have an academy and eventually a franchise, and encourage women not only into construction but into entrepreneurship as well, because that's there's a massive gender gap, and there's a massive skill gap, and women with skilled trades is less than 2%. So we really need to get those numbers up and encourage more girls and women into having a skilled trade. So, yeah.
Well, all life is in this room this afternoon, isn't it? Can I ask the editor of Lancashire Life, Chantal, I should know your name, so you're my colleague and we speak most days. Yeah, the editor of Lancashire Life, Chantal Dietz, to come to the stage to reveal the winner.
I'm absolutely honoured to be here. As John said, I'm the very new editor. I started just a few months ago on Lancashire Life. Also the first female editor of the magazine, not quite as long as you, but 78 years the magazine's been going, so the first female editor in its 78-year history. Joanne mentioned... Oh, thank you. Joanne mentioned earlier about being each other's allies and supporting one another, and she has been such a great support to me so far in my first few days and the first few months as editor, so thank you, Joanne. And I'm sure everyone could say that she's done a fantastic job today, so that's for Joanne. So I have the honour of presenting this category, which is all about, I'd say, risk, vision, determination, all the things that you've mentioned that you've had to do. And I think to be a female entrepreneur, it's to have to walk in those rooms where you're going to be underestimated. People aren't going to think that perhaps you're capable, but you're proving them wrong and doing it anyway and going ahead. So I think the women nominated in this category haven't just launched businesses, they've launched ideas, movements, and given us hope, given young people hope. They've shown us what it looks like to bet on yourself and to win with grace. So without further ado, I will find out who the winner is. Thank you. Oh, we've not just got one winner, we've got two. It's Pamela and Georgia.
Thank you so much. Excuse my wobbly walk. I'm used to wearing steel toe caps, not sparkly heels. It's amazing to be here sharing the room with so many empowering and inspiring women. And if there's one message I could share, it would be, whenever somebody tells you you can't because you're a woman, let that be the fuel that drives you to prove that you can.
The final category of the 2025 33rd Inspiring Women Awards is Community, sponsored by Cheshire Life magazine. And the finalists are Nadia Ali, Karen Wallace and Shah Sangster. Can I ask Nadia and Karen to come to the stage? And before we have a chat, we're going to watch a video from Shah. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Shah Sangster is the energy behind Manchester's Got Talent Youth. The youth and community worker founded MGTY during the first lockdown of 2020, and she now runs it alongside her son. The organisation was born from the unexpected success of online talent shows, projects and events at a time when most charities and youth organisations were closed or on furlough. It quickly became a vital and uplifting space for young people to share their talents online and engage in important discussions with the guidance of supportive adults. By working closely with parents and offering dependable guidance and support, Shah has helped bridge gaps and open doors to brighter futures for many families. Shah's journey is testament to her resilience and determination. Despite facing challenges within her community, she has remained steadfast in her mission, often with her son by her side, showcasing their collective strength and positive influence. Here is her story.
Hi, as you know, I'm Shah Sangster. I'm a youth community worker. I run my own organisation, MGTY, which is Manchester's Got Talent Youth, alongside my son, Zarairo Tutu, and with me and him, we work with partnership with the young and the older community within the mostly Manchester area.
What motivates you to support the most vulnerable in your community, and often from your own resources?
I think really it started with everyone always asks me that, and it's just a part of who I am. My family is I come from a family who volunteers. My grandma used to volunteer a lot in the church, and from the church we used to help the homeless and support other vulnerable families. So I kind of grew up with that within me. However, I got through a stage where I was a vulnerable, and it was difficult for me to reach out for help. I didn't know who to reach out to help to, and plus everybody looks at me like I'm so strong, you've got it together. So it kind of kept it to myself and struggled a long time. And it was really through the lockdown that I took time out to sit back and, you know, he wanted the whole world to stop, and it did for a minute for me. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but for me, it was great for me. I just had that time out. But then I started seeing like young people was getting affected. I seen a lot of adults talking about it, but the young people weren't getting mentioned. So I started contacting the young people to see how they were doing and so forth. And there was a way for me to support them online, and it made me recognize where I was when I was vulnerable, and that I can help so somebody don't have to feel like I do. So it started off with young people, and then it started off with older people started getting interested in what we're doing. So we started providing for older people, and that's and I seen that I was able to make changes. So that's why I started, and that's why I continue, because I can see the changes and the smiles I've put into people's lives. So it's been great that way.
Can you tell us what Manchester's Got Youth Talent is, what it actually does, and what the impact is of it?
It started off just a fun thing. I didn't expect it to be what it is today. It was just started off with online talent. So young people we had a little Instagram page anyway from before lockdown, but we didn't really use it as much. And it was for the young people to post their talents, because a lot of them, we did a lot of music and art, really. That's where we started off. And young people started sending in their, we've seen a lot of dances online. My son said to me, we should do like a competition for them, for all the online. So we started speaking to them, and it got into other conversations like, what you doing in the holiday through the lockdown, are you okay, and stuff like that. So I just do dancing and stuff, and I found a lot of people, young people, were doing little funny TikToks or dances or anything creative online. So my son said, well, we should put it into an online competition. Now, at the time, there was only like 10 people. So I said, all right then. And I put in a little voucher for the winner. And it was 10 people. And literally we did this. And within a month, we had 500 people following the Instagram page. And I was just like, I don't know what to do now. So so we carried on doing these competitions. And like you said, the funds was coming from my pocket. So we started off with £30 and maybe £50 for the big ones and stuff like that. But we had so many that we had to split up into like dance and rap and singing and funny comedy. So we had a few, so we did it. But after a while, I was looking at my bank account and saying, this can't keep going, I can't keep doing this. So let's find something else to do. So we did our last online competition. This is the last one, this is the big one. And we did that. And then we asked the young people. By this time, we've built a relationship with the young people, and we said, what else do you want to do? And they started telling us about, do you know Backchat? This was a show that came online where boys and girls had a scenario and they'd come together to find out what the boys' solution was and what the girls' solution was. So I thought, okay. So we put loads of little solutions, but we did real solutions that happened in the community. Like we did funny ones about what would you do if your friend liked that boy and you like that boy, what would you do, and what should the boy do if we did things like that. And then it became more serious, where we actually hit the real topics that, the elephant in the room, which is crime. And a lot of young people actually seem to, it changed them in some sort of way. It made them look at their friends around them, made them to make better choices, not from just one scenario, but there's other things that came with it.
I just think it's brilliant, Sian, that enthusiasm that you exude is just brilliant. And you've gone from this TikTok funny little sort of presentation to 10 people doing a dance to now having this enormous impact on young people and the way they view the world and their futures. It is inspiring, Sian.
A lot of young people, it's not hidden, it's all on my socials, where even their socials, young people have said, if it wasn't for MGTY, I don't think I would have been alive today. I don't think I would have survived through lockdown. They've had better relationships with the parents. The parents have thanked us so much because it was so difficult at home being with young people all day. As much as you love to, you don't want to be for that long. It can be a bit stressful. So it did help to give them something to do. And I set them little tasks at home saying, this week I'm going to give you a question, come back to me with it. So, yeah.
What does this nomination mean to you?
It means that I'm doing the work. It means that I am making the change, and that the organisation is making also, it makes me proud of myself, and it makes the organisation, it makes other organisations proud of me as well, that I am really doing the work. I'm really doing the work, and you know that people can actually see my heart. So I didn't expect a call from you, Jacqueline. No way. I was like, me? Are you sure? I was even like, you saw it, Shar, SHAR. I mean, but yeah, so it was like every time, so I'm not gonna lie, I've had a few awards, but each time I get one, I'm surprised. I'm like, wow, I'm still doing it. I'm still making these changes, and it pushes me, it encourages me that, yeah, I'm on the right path. So thank you.
Right, I'm going to talk to the two ladies on stage here, and you know what I said earlier about having your handkerchief handy to wipe away tears, then get them ready. So I'm going to talk to Nadia first. Nadia Ali makes a difference. As the network lead for Stockport Women and Girls, the manager of Heaton Norris Community Centre, and the founder and CEO of Make a Difference, Nadia's life work is centred around one mission: empowering women and girls and vulnerable communities through grassroots change. She's a cornerstone of the community in Stockport. Born in Manchester to a strictly religious Indian Punjabi family, Nadia's early years were shaped by hardship and deprivation. At 17, in a bold act of self-liberation, she divorced herself from a household and culture that sought to silence her voice and restrict her choices. She faced isolation, abuse, and the daunting task of rebuilding her life, but emerged resilient and determined. And today, Nadia is the proud mother of 2 daughters and an award-winning leader whose lived experiences fuel her passion to uplift others. So Nadia, would you tell us a little bit about your life before that very courageous move that you made to divorce yourself from your culture and your family?
Thank you. Before I divorced myself from my family, I only knew a life of abuse, a life where men had a say and women were nothing, a life where women were buried in the grave, if they could be, in this country, but I don't think they can get away with it, but they do in my hometown. A life where I was sexually abused as a child, a life where I was sexually abused as a teenager, and a life where abuse became the norm in the environment that I was living in, here on the doorstep in Manchester, where I'm sure, there could have been times where neighbours could have heard what was going on, but nobody does anything because we're very silent when it comes to abuse. We don't talk about it enough. And that's what I thought was the norm. Abuse was the norm for Indian women.
Empowering women and girls is at the core of everything you do now. What message would you have to other girls who are in a similar position than you were about how to break free from that and how to find a future and hope?
I have a little add-on message, if you don't mind. 13 days ago, my life changed. I lost my soulmate, my friend, Naz Khan. 32 years, I had a beautiful friendship with her. I made the most amazing memories. And 13 days ago, I got the call that she died from a bleed to the brain after just coming back from India for 2 weeks and having the most amazing time. She left behind her 15-year-old daughter, who is now with me, and I will co-parent with her father. And the advice I give to her 15-year-old daughter is, what was your norm is now gone. You have now new opportunities, new horizons, new people around you, and just take the opportunities that are being offered to you, even though I know it's going to be really hard, but we've got your back, girl. We're going to do everything we can. And Naz, I love you so much, and I'm stood on this stage because of you today. I didn't think I'd make it out the door, and I did. And if you've got a soulmate, tell her you love her. No matter what age she is, just tell her you love her, because you never know when she's going to go.
Sorry, can I just ask you finally, how is Make a Difference making a difference to communities in Greater Manchester?
We offer lots of different support services. We offer weekly groups. We have 23 different groups a week. They range from asylum seeker, refugees, disabilities, youth groups, elderly groups, whatever is needed in our community, we will offer it. English-speaking groups, community food cafes, domestic abuse groups, men's mental health support. My personal passion is around women and girls, so whatever the need is, wherever there's a gap, I'm there to fill it, and I will fight every corner to fight for the rights of women and girls in Stockport.
And now I'm going to talk about Karen Wallace. Karen Wallace's story is also about a journey from despair to hope. From 1990 onwards, Karen's life was at its lowest ebb. Years of domestic violence had left her broken and trapped in a toxic relationship with an abusive partner. She escaped briefly with her 2 children, but fear drove her back, and then her abuser, a heroin addict, found a new way to control her. Today, Karen is the head of support and Deputy Chief Executive Officer at the homelessness charity Emmaus Preston. Karen, would you tell us about what happened to you and your children from the point when you went back to that abusive partner and then up until the time when you first encountered Emmaus?
So I was with this abusive partner. He'd found me after I'd escaped the first time. His new way to control me, besides the black eyes and all the other things that came with it, was he'd got himself a heroin addiction, so it was to make sure that I had one. So it's called forced addiction. So after 3 times of trying it, you're addicted. So life spiraled drastically after that. I had my 2 young children, so obviously I was trying to put them first, but that became really difficult. I tried to hide the abuse from them, but you'd be amazed at how much they take on board even at a young age. He'd send me out to make money. No matter how I did it, I wasn't allowed back until I had. And if I came back without the money or the drugs, there was a good hiding in it for me. And to make sure I didn't run away, he'd send one child with me and keep the other one at home, so that I had to come back. This went on and on for years until eventually social services were involved because I was getting into trouble with the police. My children were taken off me, and I lost the property that I was living in at that point. And from that point on, my life just spiraled. I think that day that the children were taken was the day that I gave up, so I didn't really care anymore. I ended up living on the streets. My addiction spiraled even more. It went from smoking heroin to injecting crack cocaine. Any drug that was a lot around, I'd take it. Obviously, I was committing lots of crime to fund this habit. He was controlling me with the drugs as well because he took pleasure out of taking them off me and leaving me to withdraw, so I have to go out and make money again. I'd get arrested regularly, in fact, so often that I was on first name terms with the police officers at the station. One even used to give me his packed lunch because I wouldn't eat in there. The magistrates were so sick and tired of seeing me that in the end, obviously, they done what they had to do, which was make sure I went to prison. So I was in and out of prison. I was a revolving door through the prison system, but I didn't mind that because prison was my safe place. So prison's meant to be a punishment for people, and it should be. But for me, it wasn't, because prison takes you away from your loved ones. It takes away your freedom. But I didn't have any of that. So it was just a warm, safe place where I wasn't going to get beaten and I had 3 meals a day. And this continued and continued. And I'd be released from prison with nowhere to go. So I'd be back there. Then I'd go back, and it just continued, this revolving door. And then on one of my sentences, I got told that he'd contracted a virus called endocarditis. So he was rushed into hospital, and the only highlight of that was it meant when he was discharged from the hospital, I actually had a home to go to because he found me somewhere to live. So I moved into this bed sit, and then 11 months later, he passed away because of this virus, and I decided to turn things around. So I was on a methadone script. So coming off street drugs takes 7 to 10 days, but coming off methadone, 6 weeks withdrawal. So I locked myself away and went cold turkey. And then in doing that, because it was such a struggle, I swapped one addiction for another and started using alcohol to get off the drugs. So then I became a full-blown alcoholic and lost the property and ended back on the streets again. I've got really dry mouth, I'm so sorry. I was sleeping in doorways and alleyways. I'd regularly get assaulted, I'd get spat at, I've been urinated on, I've had people kick me in the face. So I got scared of sleeping out in the open, and there was no support, no one was helping me. And I was sat by the toilets one day, the ones that you put money in, and I heard a noise at around 7 o'clock in the evening. And when I investigated, I seen that they automatically locked down at 7 o'clock at night. So that became my home for the next 8 years. So I'd get to the toilets before 7, put 20p in to get in, put cardboard on the floor, usually a disabled one because it was bigger. I was safe, I was warm. No one could get into me. I had somewhere to sleep, I could have a wash, I could go to the toilet. And I lived there for 8 years, and the gentleman that cleaned the toilets knew that I was living there. And as long as I didn't leave a mess, he was fine with that. And then life continued. I'm going on too much now. Life continued, and I'd sit in the daytime with the street drinkers, and somebody approached me one day, and I'd been clean off drugs for over 8 years at that point. Oh, that's that for me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I give that to you? And he approached me and he said, I'm new to the town, I'm withdrawing off drugs, will you score for me? I was like, I've been clean for years, I don't know anybody, leave me alone. He left me, he came back and approached me a second time. I said no, but the third time he bumped into me, I was withdrawing for alcohol and I was in a really, really bad state. So he said, I'll go in that shop and buy you some beer if you make a phone call on this number and score me some drugs. So my thought was, well, I'll get the beer out of him, but they won't come and serve me because they won't come and serve him. But it was the same drug dealers I'd used years ago, so they did. So this became a regular thing. He'd come and find me, get me some beers, and I'd make this phone call. And then one day I was sat there, the police approached me, thinking they were pouring my beer away, I was hiding my beer. And they said they were arresting me for supplying Class A drugs to a police officer. So I went to the police station and saw my solicitor, and he said I was looking at 4 to 6 years. If anyone had said that to me in the past, my heart would have sank. But I'd given up on life that much. I'd go to bed at night and pray not to wake up the next day. So when they said that, I was just relieved. But luckily, because I gave an early guilty plea and I accepted what I'd done, I only got 2 years. So after leaving prison, I went to a bail hostel in a new area because they were going to send me back to my own area, and I refused point blank to go. So they found me a bail hostel in a new area in Preston, and I was going to probation each week, but again, I was going to become homeless when I finished on tag. So I was just dressed into probation to please help me. So they sent me to the council, but because I had no local connection, they weren't going to help me. I wasn't their problem. And then luckily, one of the probation officers used to go to Emmaus and shop, and she told me about Emmaus and what it does, and arranged an interview for me, and I went down there and moved in as a companion in 2012. So I moved into this homeless charity thinking I'll stay for a little bit and then I'll leave. But I loved it so much because they became family. I felt safe for the first time in my life. I was supported. They were helping me to build my confidence. So I ended up being there for 2.5, nearly 3 years. And then I was ready to move on with my now husband, Dave, who I met in there. And the director of the charity offered me a part-time role, and then I've moved from that role to full-time, to head of support, to deputy CEO, and thanks to the charity I'm in touch with my children, and I've got 3 beautiful grandchildren. Take that off. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Joanne.
Just ask one last question, Karen. So you're now not only in a position of authority at Emmaus, you've got a husband, you've got a relationship back with your family, and you're a national advocate for homelessness. You're a survivor. What advice, what help, what support can you give other people who might be in that situation who can't see any way of survival?
I think that every woman has got that survival instinct in them. I don't know what used to drive me on, but it just came naturally for some reason. Even on the darkest of days when I'd go to sleep and pray not to wake up, I'd think, oh, well, I've woke up. But it was obviously for a purpose. So my purpose, I believe, was to help people in similar situations. And I get the joy of doing that every day at Emmaus, because whenever someone turns up that's homeless, there's not an issue that anyone's come to me with yet that I haven't previously been through myself, which I think my lived experience helps them. And they think, well, if she's done it, maybe I can. So I think that helps. But also, I went to Parliament on the Homelessness Reduction Act and to Downing Street, and I was pleading with the MPs to make changes, because if someone wants to make a fresh start and escape from their past, they can, but then the barrier is the council won't take them on because they've got no local connection. So I'm trying to get them to get rid of this needing a local connection. And also, I think that just being supported, and I'll do anything, me, to help anybody, but I think the biggest thing is the Emmaus communities, because there's 32 across the UK, and they'll take anybody. They don't care where you've come from. They don't need a local connection. So we help people to move on from the situations that I found no help with.
Cheshire Life is the sponsor of this award. So I've got the really tricky job of saying who's the winner in this category. And I'm not sure who it is in the envelope, but I think everybody should just rise to their feet and applaud these two ladies. And the winner is Karen Wallace.
I'm not prepared for this because I didn't think I'd win, so I don't even know what to say, except to say that I think every single person in this room is massively inspirational to me. The stories that I've heard, especially your story. And I've seen the picture that you had in your hand, it really touched me. So I just want to say thank you for choosing me as a finalist, and thank you for all listening to me today.
So that's almost it. Is this on, Hank? Can you turn that off for us, darling? So that's almost it for the 33rd off. Annual award.
Turned it off already.
All right.
You said turn it on.
Okay. When you have to employ your children. I know. So I just want to say a few thank yous. Thank you again to all my sponsors, my guest speakers, Maria, Sarah and Claire. The wonderful Joanne Goodwin for holding the day together so professionally. And to Dee Drake, who has project managed today like no other. So, but if you're listening, Lynn, she's not going to replace you, don't worry. Thank you to the staff of the Lowry Hotel, who have looked after us so well, and the production team at Village Green. Thank you to everyone in the room who's attended today, whether it's your first time or over the years in support of these awards. And to Kate for turning the room from one singer to 200 singers. Now, many years ago, I did a quick swerve into higher education for a while, and Nadine and Frankie that you've seen today were my first ever students. And after 11 years, I can't shake them off. Even though they've graduated, they've got successful careers, they still keep coming back. So, but thank you. It's lovely to see. Oh, thank you. And Lucy Haynes for taking charge of our social media posts. Who's done a remarkable job today. Obviously, I'm going to thank Hank for being so brilliant at the raffle, sweetheart, and keeping me on time. And if you don't need to rush off, the bar outside is now open, and you're very welcome to use the lounge bar downstairs or this one here. But before you leave, please join me in a final round of applause for all our 2025 finalists. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get a round of applause for yourself at the end of a speech. Thank you very much.